Yo, what's going on YouTube? This your boy, Kamen Zero Spike, back again once again. And today, people, today we have for Avataro Sentai Donbrothers episode 15, and we get the debut of our 6th ranger in this episode, which is Don Dragoku. Yeah, he looks absolutely freaking dope, and the way his power came was very weird to me. But like it just like he said, I feel the power. I feel the inner voice to tell me that my power is gonna come now, and it's like boom, disappears. I'm like, okay. But throughout this episode, they're basically trying to figure out how to get Taro back. We see that Taro, that was the real Taro that did come back in that part, but he just automatically faded back into the that other dimension. But basically, they're trying to figure out how they got Taro back, and they did ask Kaito, what can they do to get him back? Because Kaito basically explains to them that you really can't do that anymore. You really can't use a wish anymore, because you guys are in the negatives. Their points were basically in the negatives, and now that their points are in the negatives, like certain bad things are going to start happening to them. And we did see that that did start to affect Haruka and Blue. So we see that Blue, he basically lost his ability to do haikus, and it really effed with him throughout the episode. And we also saw how Haruka, she basically lost like all feeling in her legs, and throughout a small majority of the episode, she's in a wheelchair. And yeah, so we see that Jiru, I'll just say Jiru. Yeah, he's very adamant on becoming their leader. He's very adamant on, like, I am your leader. I am Taro's like successor and things like that. We find out that he actually has met Taro back in the past, and we see that he saw Taro basically getting bullied / jumped by some dudes, and Taro basically refused to hit them. We see, because we know that Taro, he doesn't hit like normal people. Like if you're a normal person, he would not put his hands on you. So what these bullies did, they basically jumped him and beat him up to the point where, and they beat him up while they were hitting him. It was like he was ultra instinct, like he was just tanking a bunch of hits, and he stood there standing up the entire time, and they kept beating him up and beating him up and beating him up to the point where they all got exhausted. They all just got like super tired, and he's just standing there with his hands in his pockets. And I mean, he's beat up and stuff, but he's just standing there with his hands in his pockets. And that's what made Jiru, that's what inspired Jiru. We see that Jiru like really looks up to Taro. So he's very adamant on staying their leader and things like that, and he does blame Haruka and Blue for the fact that Taro is gone. He's like, aren't you guys like, isn't the reason why Taro died is because you guys like refused to you guys did like a poor job at like backing him up and stuff. And he's like, maybe I should just execute you guys, and then I'll form a brand new team. And I was like, yo, you're like, wait a minute. It's like, are you gonna execute them right there in the diner? Like, what's happening here? But we see that Jiru basically, he realizes like how much they cared about Taro so deeply, especially Haruka. Like, she's like, you can't be his successor. No one else can call us companions. Like, that's all Taro's job. Like, Taro cannot be replaced. And also no Jin in this episode as well. But we see that Sonoe has his own little plan that he has going on, because he still feels bad about how he defeated Taro, and he basically wants to find a way to how to get Taro back. He does keep it a secret from the other two Cerebrands, making sure that they don't see him, basically helping the Donbrothers. So we see that Kijino is dealing with the whole thing of Miho being in a hospital, and Miho being actually hurt and things like that. She has like a bandage around all around her head, and he's still pissed off about what happened, what basically happened to her. And we see that Kijino is the enemy size monster for this episode. He transforms into a car, another speed kind of car based kind of Hitsuki, and he ends up like he's very very fast, and he runs around the city going driving safety, and he's able to make like cars and stuff and like that disappear. So he's rampaging throughout there. We see that Blue and Haruka end up fighting him, and while they're fighting him, they basically are he's beating the crap out of them, and they actually see him transform into this thing, and that's when Jiru, he comes up and tries to help them out, and he ends up getting his power and transforming into Dragoku, and he ends up fighting off Kijino, and that basically Kijino ends up getting away. So we also saw that Inuzuka ends up meeting with Miho. He ends up meeting when he does end up meeting Miho, we see that he does end up going back to Kiji Brothers house, and he talks to him about like, hey, I found Natsumi and stuff like that, but she seemed like she didn't recognize me, and I was just like, oh, come on, man, like I really like I hope that they make this reveal right now. But we see that Kijino is like, oh, do you have a picture of her and stuff like that? So he pulls out his phone, he shows her a picture. He shows Kiji brother a picture of him and Natsumi in it, but Kijino cannot see what she looks like because it has a cat filter on it. And I was just like, oh, come on. Come on, dude. You should be able to recognize someone even if they're, wearing a freaking cat, like a freaking filter on like you should be able to recognize them. Like that was cap to me. That was big cap. But we see that Inuzuka really isn't in this episode that much. He's throughout the city, he's looking for Natsumi. Like that's his plan. Like he's very, very much looking for Natsumi. So we see that he ends up he does end up transforming again. But we see that in the diner, we see Sonoe ends up talking to the rest of the Donbrothers, saying that, hey, Taro is asleep inside of another dimension. And they ended up having Kijino in his monster form. He ends up fighting Sonoe. Sonoe one-shots him, and then that's when Jiru comes in, grabs onto Kijino as he fades away, and we actually see the dimension that Taro is actually inside of. And it turns out that dimension that he's inside of is all the people who were defeated by the Cerebrands. We see where they go. They don't die. This place basically is just like this place is basically the Phantom Zone / Negative Zone, where they're all sitting there inside of like these cubes, and they're basically stuck there. So that's where the people go if they're defeated by one of the Cerebrands. So they're not technically dead, but they're basically cursed to be in this place. So he ends up so Jiru and Kijino are in the same like little cube, and Jiru is trying to like float over there to Taro to get him out, but we see that, and he ends up Kijino ends up waking up, and Kijino transforms, and he uses his wings to basically fly and steer them to Taro, and they end up saving Taro. So they end up going back into the real world, and that's when they end up using that's when Taro and Jiru as a team up to take down Kijino, and when they take him down, he ends up transforming back into his regular self. We get no mecha fight in this episode, which I'm kind of glad, because I wasn't really expecting to see Jiru's mech right off the bat like that. But I'm pretty sure his mech is gonna look absolutely awesome. The Sixth Ranger always has like the best mech. If you really think about it, they always have like the best mech or the most unique weapon. So, and he is like, his whole suit looks very, very different than what the rest of the Donbrothers basically look like, and his whole suit design is absolutely cracked. So we see that Tato and Judo ended up transforming, and they ended up going toe to toe with Kijino, and they ended up defeating Kijino. But episode kind of ends off right there. We see that Sonoe found. I like how Sonoe was like, yeah, now that Tato is back, we can fight again, and when I defeat you this time, it'll be with honor. So like how he said before, he didn't like how he defeated Tato, and now since Tato is back, he wants to be able to defeat him the proper way. And yeah, I'm hoping, and I'll see that Sonoe kind of kept this under wraps. Like, he told the rest of the Sarah brands, like, yeah, this won't happen again, I promise. But he ends up just basically just lies to them. He basically just lies to them and tells them that. And I'm hoping that maybe none of them saw it. Like, we don't get a scene where like one of them is watching him talk to the Don brothers and trying to get the Tato and stuff back like that. So when they ended up defeating the monster, and that's about it. We see how Judo is very, very, very up Kaito's butt, but at the same time, like, he likes Kaito, and he firmly believes that he's supposed to be the leader of the team when he's not. And I think we see that next episode, they're probably gonna be fighting Judo is probably gonna fight Kaito. From how I kind of viewed from how I kind of seen the preview. But yeah, overall, this is a great episode, debut of a brand new Ranger, and he looks dope. And his henshin sound, oh my god, his henshin sound is absolutely freaking dope. But how do you think this is gonna go? Do you think he's gonna, most likely, you think he's gonna have an epiphany, and his whole thing is gonna change around, stuff like that? Or do you think he's just gonna overall just stay the same? A lot of times they do, but I'm optimistic. Maybe he'll change. But other than that, this is a great episode. You guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think of episode 15 of Dawn Brothers, and I'm gonna see you guys next time. And remember, stay henshined.